So Nutsedge is a weed that's kind of light yellow in color, sort of kind of looks like grass coming up sometimes, but it's that very lime green color and it grows much faster than the rest of the grass around it. If you get close to it, you'll see that it kind of has a little base to it, and then kind of sprouts just come out off of there, and they can get really tall if you actually let it. Just a second, actually, I have some really tall stuff I'll show you. So here's basically what it looks like when it gets taller and you let it go. So it's got this base little system here. So you don't really want to pull these out of your yard, because this little part here, you can see that the root system really didn't pull off very well. And most of the time that will get stuck in the ground and you won't get it, and then it's just going to continue to come back year after year. And this year is much better for me. Last year I had quite a bit of this stuff in the yard. This year it seems like it's a little bit better, but it has been another wet year. This stuff likes wet soil, and so you want to let your soil dry out a little bit if you can, but it's always a game there playing between watering grass and worrying about a few weeds like that. So today I'm going to show you what I'm going to use to spray this. There is a product made by Ortho called Nutsedge Killer. I personally don't have experience with that product. I read some reviews about it that said it seemed like it worked, but then after a little bit of period of time, it seemed like Nutsedge came back. Some people said it worked fine. Of course, all those typical things you see on reviews where some people say it works, some people say it doesn't. But if you feel more comfortable with that method and you want to try a hose end version, there is a version there that you can grab. It's fairly cheap too, so you could try that. But let's move on to the method here that I'm going to use today, which is using this kind of Sedgehammer generic product. So what I've had good luck with in the past is actually called Sedgehammer, but this is Prosedge. It's basically a generic version of it, and last year I tried this out and it seemed to work just as well for me, and it was, I believe, a little bit cheaper, so go with that option if you want, or you can just get the full-on Sedgehammer product if you want to. Now I believe the Sedgehammer has a surfactant built into it, meaning it's something in there that helps the weed killer to actually coat the leaves of the weed. The Prosedge does not have that in it, so you just have to add a little bit. Not a big deal. Some people like to use dish soap or baby shampoo, something like that. I just prefer this since it's not very expensive. Alright, so what we've got here is this little measuring tool that comes with it, which is nice. And it says we need 0.9 grams of this product in 1 to 2 gallons of water to treat 1,000 square feet. Then add 2 teaspoons, 1/3 fluid ounce of non-ionic surfactant, preferably at least 80%, which this is 80% right here. So it's nice that it comes with this little tool, because this is exactly the measurement that we need. So I'm going to fill up my tank half full of water, probably just a gallon of water will work for me, and then we'll put 0.9 grams in there for 1,000 square feet, and we're just going to go do some spot spraying. So I'm going to fill this with half of a gallon, and then we'll get our product mixed in. Alright, so we need 1 scoop of this, so that looks good. I'm going to add some water while I'm pouring it in. Now we add in 1/3 of an ounce of this, which is really not much. I got this little measuring cup here from an old Weed Be Gone thing that I use. 1/3 of an ounce, not much at all. Now this is a soluble product, so we need to really go ahead and agitate this. If you have like a drill or something you can agitate while you're actually pouring it in, that would be preferable, but I could see it in the bottom when I put it in there that it was actually already breaking down, but we want to make sure we keep this stirred. So we'll turn this on, let it get up to pressure here. So at this point you could add a marker dye if you would like to, something so that when you're spot spraying you can see exactly where you've been. For the most part, I feel like this kind of coats the leaf pretty well and you can see where you've been. I just prefer to not use marker dye if I don't have to, just because it makes a huge mess usually. But if you want to use some and you're new to spraying, or you just feel more comfortable with it, perfectly cool too. Just a couple drops of some blue marker dye in there and you'll be able to see exactly where you sprayed. So from there is really all you do is just walk through your yard. So just go in a grid pattern, just go up and down, follow your same paths, spray what you see, and keep in your lines, and you'll be perfectly good to go. There's really nothing more to it than that. I usually just kind of give it a nice little spray. You don't want to over soak it for like a few seconds. You just want to give it a nice little spray, make sure that the leaves are coated, and you're good to go. Don't mind this, I just had my irrigation put in. So from my experience, you're not going to see instant brown results that maybe you might see on some other types of weeds. When you spray broadleaf weeds in like 2 or 3 days, you see some browning of that. Typically what I've seen with this product or with the Sedgehammer product is that the nutsedge kind of starts to turn even a little bit more of a yellow color, and then as you continue to mow, it just doesn't really grow anymore. It kind of looks stunted at that point. You continue to mow it off and eventually you just don't see it anymore and it's gone. That's what happened to me last season when I used this product. And of course, keeping your lawn really thick and healthy will keep weeds away. But even in my backyard, which is around 3¼ inches tall right now, I've got a little bit of nutsedge in there, just a couple here and there. So it's just kind of a pain weed sometimes to deal with. It keeps coming back on you. But I hope that gave you some information today on how to get rid of some nutsedge. If you have questions, let me know. Thanks so much for watching this video. We'll see you next time.